All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakak Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles at Great Millstone and all the Akim out there doing the work in truth and sincerity, and the speckled birds, scattered people out there, the children of Israel, who are seeking the truth. Shalom to you, and all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakak Kwadash. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakak Kwadash. Well, I made a lesson just a while ago in the book of Esther, but it seems like everything that I put on there froze and it wasn't even recorded. So I'm going to go take a go at it again, okay? But I'm just going to shorten it a little bit. The book of Esther is a very good read. It's talking about a man of the Lord called Madocius. Okay, he was basically a man of the Lord, and he was serving in the king's court. Great Artaxerxes the Great, okay, was the Persian king. All right, and let's see, Madocius. He was a Benjamite. He was the son of Jairus, which was the son of Samai, which is the son of Caesar, which is a Benjamite. Okay, so Madocius, he had a dream, and it dealt with a let's see here. It dealt with a great uproar and a noise that was happening, that was going to be happening in the land. It says here in Esther chapter 11 and verse 5, it says, "Behold, a noise of a tumult, a thunder, an earthquake, an uproar in the land. And behold, two great dragons came forth, ready to fight. And their cry was great, and at the cry all nations were prepared to battle, and they might fight against the righteous people, which is the people of the Lord. Okay, and lo, a day of darkness and obscurity, tribulation and anguish, affliction and great uproars upon the earth." Okay, so now these two dragons that they're talking about, let's go back to the book of Esther, first chapter, and it says let's go to the 6th verse. It says here, "A little fountain became a river, and there was light, and the sun, and much water. This river is Esther, whom the king married and made queen. And the two dragons are I and Ammon," which is Mardochus, and Ammon being the wicked one. Okay, he was the wicked one. So now what happened is Mardochus he ended up he didn't like the Jews. All right, he didn't like the Jews, and he wanted to basically destroy them. So what happened is, while Mardochus was sleeping he was sleeping in he was having rest. Let me just go straight to the verse. It's in chapter 12. It says here, "And Mardochus took his rest in the court with Gabbatha and Thara, the two eunuchs of the king, and keepers of the palace. And he heard their device, and searched out their purpose, and learned that they were about to lay hands upon Artaxerxes the king. And so he certified the king of them." So he went and told the king about them, right? Now, then the king examined the two eunuchs, and after that they had confessed it, they were hanged, they were strangled. I could imagine those two bastards being strangled. Okay, some guard came and put his hands around their neck and just squeezed them while they were dangling. Okay, and it says, "And the king made a record of these things, and Mardochus also wrote thereof. So the king commanded Mardochus to serve in the court, and for this he rewarded him." Okay, "Howbeit, Ammon, the son of Amadathius, the Agagite, who was in great honor with the king, sought to molest Mardochus and his people because of the two eunuchs. He wanted to have the king die because he was Amon was second in command to the king. Okay, he was in command. He ruled a vast territory under the king. Okay, so if the king died, he would have ended up being in power. So let's go on to chapter 13 and verse 4. So this is the imagination that Amon had. So he wanted to declare unto us that in all nations throughout the world there were scattered a certain malicious people that had laws contrary to all nations. You're talking about the children of Israel. And continually despise the commandments of kings, so as the uniting of our kingdom, honorably intended by us, cannot go forward. So this is the same thing that's happening here in Mystery Babylon. They would blame the children of God that these certain people don't want to do the laws and don't want to partake in the forwardness or the forward movement of a certain kingdom, which would be this place, Mystery Babylon. So what best to have everybody set their eyes on them and hate them, and because they're the problem and they got to be eradicated basically. So that's the common ideology that Amon was trying to bring to all the people. Now it goes on in verse 5 to say, seeing then we understand that this people alone is continually in opposition unto all men, differing in the strange manner of their laws, and evil affected to our state, working all things the mischief they can, that our kingdom may not be firmly established. Therefore have we commanded that all they that are signifying writing unto you by Amon, who is ordained over the affairs and is next unto us, okay, shall all with their wives and children be utterly destroyed by the sword of their enemy, without all mercy and pity, the 14th day of the 12th month Adar of the present year, that they who of old and now also are malicious may in one day with violence go into the grave, and so ever hereafter cause our affairs to be well settled and without trouble. Okay, so now let's go down to verse 12 down. So this is the prayer that Mardochus made to the Lord, because he was worried about the state of affairs of his people, and so he prayed unto the Lord. It says here in verse 8, then Mardochus thought upon all the works of the Lord and made his prayer unto him, saying, O Lord Yahweh, the King Almighty, for the whole world is in thy power, and if thou hast appointed to save Israel, there is no man that can gainsay thee. That means there's no one that can talk against the Most High Yahweh. For thou hast made heaven and earth, and all the wondrous things under the heaven. Thou art Lord over all things, and there is no man that can resist thee, which art the Lord. Thou knowest all things, and thou knowest, Yahweh, that it was neither in contempt nor pride, nor for any desire of glory, for I did not bow down to this proud Amon. Okay? For I could have been content with goodwill for the salvation of Israel, to kiss the sole of his feet. But I did this, that I might not prefer to glory of man above the glory of Yahweh. Neither will I worship any but thee, O Yahweh, neither will I do it in pride. And now, O Lord Yahweh, King, spare thy people, for their eyes are upon us, to bring us to naught. That means to bring us to destruction. Yea, they desire to destroy the inheritance that thou hast been from the beginning. Okay? So we've been the inheritance of the Lord even before the foundation of the earth. Okay? Okay, despise not the portion which thou hast delivered out of Egypt for thine own self. Hear my prayer and be merciful upon thine inheritance. Turn our sorrow into joy, that we may live, O Yahweh, and praise thy name, and destroy not the mouth of them that praise thee, O Lord. All Israel is in like manner cried most earnestly unto the Lord, because their death was in their eyes. Now, this is the same thing that's happening right now. There are people who are in fear of their lives, who's not sure about tomorrow, who's not sure about the present time. At any moment, someone can just come and just kill, a righteous one, and nothing happens. Basically. So now we're gonna go down to where now Queen Esther herself, being in fear for herself, says Queen Esther also being in fear of death resorted unto the Lord. So I'm going to go down to verse 5. It says here, from my youth up I have heard in the tribe of my family that thou, O Yahweh, tookest Israel from amongst all people. So even Queen Esther is referencing the fact that that the Lord took Israel out of from all people. Okay, and it says here, and our fathers from all their predecessors for a perpetual inheritance. And thou hast performed whatsoever thou didst promise them. And now we have sinned before thee. Therefore hast thou given us into the hands of our enemies. Right? And it says here, because we worship their gods, O Lord Yahweh, thou art righteous. Okay? So now I'm going to go down to verse 11 of the 14th chapter of Esther. It says here, O Lord, give not thy scepter unto them that be nothing, and let them not laugh at our fall, but turn their device upon themselves, and make him an example that he began this against us. You see? So everything that Haman imagined and wanted to have against the children of Israel, Queen Esther prayed that all of these things are going to happen right back to him. So let me go to a precept, and I'm going to go to the book of Isaiah, the 40th chapter. 40th chapter, and let me see, 40th chapter and verse 15. It says here, behold, the nations are a drop of a bucket, and are counted as a small dust of the balance. Behold, he taketh up the isles as a very little thing. And verse 16, and Lebanon is not sufficient to burn, nor the beast thereof sufficient for a burnt offering. All nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing and vanity. So you see, Queen Esther knew that the rest of the nations outside Israel were nothing, and he knew that they were a no people, basically. Okay, so now let's go to verse now this is the point where the queen went in front of the king, because she wanted to have favor from the king to be able to spare her people, right? So it says here, she came up to the king, and she says in chapter 15 verse 7, then lifting up his countenance that shone with majesty, he looked very fiercely upon her, and the queen fell down and was pale and fainted, and bowed herself upon the head of the maid that went before her. Then Yahweh changed the spirit of the king into mildness. Right? who in fear leaped from his throne, right? From his throne and came to her, no, from his throne and took her in his arms till she came to herself again, and comforted her with loving words, and said unto her, Esther, what is the matter? I am thy brother. Be of good cheer. Okay. Now, so then she went to explain, some stuff that she says, thou shalt not die, though our commandments be general. Come near. And so he held up his golden scepter, and he laid it upon her neck, and embraced her, and said, Speak unto me. Then she said unto him, I saw thee, my Lord, as an angel. So she's basically, giving him some props, telling him she saw him as an angel, and my heart was troubled for fear of thy majesty. For wonderful art thou, Lord, and thy countenance is full of grace. And as she was speaking, she fell down for faintness. Then the king was troubled, and all his servants comforted her. Okay, it says, then in verse 16, it says here, in chapter 16, it says, the great king Artaxerxes unto the princes and governors of 127 province from India unto Ethiopia, and unto all our faithful subjects, greetings. Okay, it says here, many the more often they honored with the great bounty of their gracious princes, and more proud they are waxen, and endeavors to hurt not our subjects only, but not being able to bear abundance, do take in hand to practice against those that do them good. Okay? And take not only thankfulness away from among men, but also lift it up with the glorious word of lewd persons that were never good. They think to escape the justice of God, that seeth all things and hateth evil. It says, oftentimes also fair speech of those that are put in trust to manage their friends' affair had caused many that are in authority to be partakers of innocent blood, and had enwrapped them in remediless calamities, beguiling with the falsehood and deceit of their lewd disposition the innocency and goodness of princes. Okay, so it says, now ye may see this as we have declared, not so much by ancient histories, as ye may if ye search what had been wickedly done of late through the pestilent behavior of them that were unworthily placed in authority. So he's talking about Haman here. And we must take care for the time to come, that our kingdom may be quiet and peaceable for all men, both by changing our purposes and always judging things that are evident with more equal proceedings. So he's telling them to basically weigh out the situation before wanting to take some type of action that's going to cause innocent blood to be spilled. And also, not only that, but the fact that when you have a friend manage the affairs could cause you a lot of calamities if he's not balancing his judgment. So a lot of great men listen to bad advice from friends that they put in high office. It says here, so in verse 10, it says, for Ammon, a Macedonian, the son of Amadatha, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood, okay, and far distant from our goodness, and a stranger received of us, had so far forth obtained the favor that we showed towards every nation, as that he was called our father, and was continually honored of all men, as the next person unto the king. Okay? So he was held in high esteem, but then was found out to be a damn liar and a lewd, lascivious person. But he, not being, not bearing his great dignity, went about to deprive us of our kingdom and life. Okay? Having by manifold and cunning deceit sort of us the destruction, as well as Madocius, who saved our life, and continually procured our goods, and also blameless Esther, partaker of the kingdom with their whole nation. For by these means he thought, finding us destitute of friends, to have translated the kingdom of Persia to the Macedonians. Okay, so he thought that if he would have if we would have the peace taken away by having us be the ones who were hated and were the cause of all the problems, that this would cause an uprising of the people, and it would go against the righteous ones and cause destruction and death to them. This is what he was hoping for, but it backfired on him. All praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. It backfired on him. So it says here in verse 15, but we find that the Jews, whom this wicked wretch had delivered to utter destruction, are no evildoers, but live by most just laws. Okay? And that they be children of the Most High, and mostly and most mighty living God, who had ordered the kingdom both unto us and to our progenitor in the most excellent manner. Wherefore, ye shall do well not to put in execution the letter sent to you by Ammon, the son of Amadatha. For he that was the worker of these things is hanged, okay, at the gates of Susa with all his family. Yahweh, who ruleth all things, speedily rendering vengeance to him according to his desert. So I figure he got put in pie, is what he got. Hanged. That's what he got. He got exactly what he deserved. Okay? So let's go down to verse 20. And he says, and ye shall aid them that even the same day, being the 13th day of the 12th month Adar, that they be avenged on them who in the time of their affliction shall set upon them. Okay? For Almighty Yahweh had turned to joy unto them the day wherein the chosen people should have perished. Okay? Ye shall therefore among your solemn feasts keep it a high day with all festing. Okay? The both now and hereafter there may be safety to us and the well affected Persians. And they those and but to those which do comprise against us a memorial of destruction. Okay? Therefore every city and country whatsoever which shall not do according to these things shall be destroyed without mercy, and fire, and a sword, and shall be made not only unpassable for men, but also most hateful to wild beasts and the fowls forever. So now let's go to the book of Jeremiah, the 50th chapter. So and we're going to start at the 33rd verse. It says here, Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 33, it says, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all they that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. Their Redeemer is strong. The Lord of hosts is his name, Yahweh. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, and he may give rest to the land, and disquit the inhabitants of Babylon. A sword is upon the Chaldeans, saith the Lord, and upon the inhabitants of Babylon, and upon her princes, and upon her wise men. A sword is upon the liars like Haman, and they shall dote. A sword is upon her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed. A sword is upon their horses, and upon their chariots, and upon the mingled people that are in the midst of her, and they shall become as women. A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. A drought is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up. Okay? For it is the land of graven images, and they are mad upon their idols. Therefore, the wild beast of the desert with the wild beast of the island shall dwell there, and the owls shall dwell therein, and it shall be no more inhabited forever. Neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. As God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, saith Yahweh, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. Behold, a people shall come from the north, a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. They shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel, and will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, every one put in array, like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. Okay? The king of Babylon had heard the report of them, and his hands waxed feeble. Anguish took hold of him, and pangs as a woman in travail. Okay, so see, it's so in the end of the book of Esther, it's telling you the same thing.